Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the fish room again. So we are having another update on the building of the fish room as I walk you guys through each and every step. Today we're going to head back out to the building. We're going to talk a little bit about the electricity. We're going to talk about insulation. We're going to talk about doors to use. We're going to talk a little bit about a lot of really important stuff when it comes to actually building your own fish room. You guys do not want to miss this. So let's head out there so I can show you guys the progress. All right, so here we go. Look at this. We're getting extremely close. We're almost to sheetrocking. Oh, I can smell the water in the tanks already. And I tell you what, I am absolutely ready for this to be over with. I do not like to build. It's so stinking time consuming and it just drains your wallet dry. So whenever you decide that you want to build a fish room, you better be very committed, and you better make up your mind beforehand the thing that you're going to do, because you're going to try to cut so many corners just to get it over with. But listen to me, do not cut corners. It is absolutely not worth it. It's going to cost you more in the end. Do it right the first time. Let me repeat that again because I'm talking to myself. Do it right the absolute first time. All right, so let's go over some of the things that we got going on here so you guys can understand a little bit more. I'm trying to give you the best way that I know how to build a fish room. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about today has to do with keeping down your electricity cost. And by keeping down your electricity cost, that's all about insulating that room. First thing, let's talk about the door. Now, whenever you put a door in here, you've got the choice. You can buy one of these, these cheap wooden doors like this one. Well, it's got posters on it, so it's hard to tell. But it's just a plain old cheap wooden door. The problem with these wooden doors are these are interior hollow wood doors. And so there are so many gaps in this thing, and then especially down there at the bottom, air just comes through absolute everywhere. You would have to put weather stripping all around this to get this to work. Just don't do it. I've done it before. I made the mistake. I should not have done it. Spend the extra money to buy an exterior door. And when I say extra money, it's quite a bit more expensive. This is an exterior door. It does not have a hollow center. It's got a solid center to it, so it does not let cold or hot air out. But the main thing that it has in it is it has all of this built-in weather stripping you see right here, all the way around on all the sides, and then down at the bottom you've got the kick plate here that has weather stripping all down it also, and you've got these little plastic things on the bottom of the door that run against that. So when this door closes, this thing is completely sealed. You are not going to have any leaks of any sort coming out of here. So your door is going to save you money. The expense for the door, I promise you, within a year's time, you are going to save what you would have spent on the wooden door by putting in one of these exterior doors. So exterior door you absolutely have to have. You can do this. You can do what I did. You can look for one of these doors that has dents and scratches in it, and then show it to a manager, and they'll knock a decent amount of money off the door to help you save, because I don't care that it's got dents in it, because that doesn't affect the door. Next thing let's talk about, even though this is an interior wall, this part of my shop over here, we do not heat and cool when we're not here. So it's critical that I put insulation up. So again, when you're building walls, go ahead and put insulation in all of the walls. Now, these walls are not load-bearing walls, so these are 24-inch centers. So these are the wider insulation that you can use. Now you can use the thinnest insulation. I think it's the R19 or whatever it is. It's designed to go in a 2x4 wall. but go ahead and do this. I've been in a lot of garage fish rooms where the only thing they do is put the panels on the garage door, and I ask them, I'm like, hey, does this work? Oh yeah, I can control the air conditioner and the heater in here, and I can keep it at the temperature I want, but their electric bill for that room usually costs them at least 2 times to sometimes 3 times more a month than what mine cost, because I have insulated every single wall and created a contained box. So again, spend the money when you're putting your walls up, put insulation in it on every single side so that it keeps that hot air or that cold air inside, because I promise you in the long run you are going to save more money. Kind of dark in here right now because I don't have any lighting yet, but this room ended up being even bigger in my mind. I mean, I knew what size it was going to be. It's a little over 10 foot wide by 28 foot deep, but when you actually get the wall up and you see, man, it looks like a lot of room. So I'm excited about that. I figured right now that if I ended up doing the whole thing on both sides, all 20-gallon highs, I could get over 100 tanks in here. But for right now, we're just going to start on this side and slowly build into it so it doesn't cost me an absolute fortune. All right, the next thing that we're going to talk about, let's talk a little bit about electricity and electrical work. Now, when I say this, I'm not telling you this so that you can do this yourself. I'm telling you this so that you can explain this to your electrician that's doing this, because you don't want to install your electricity and it burn your house down. That's absolutely not going to be worth it. So please, if you do not know what you're doing, please hire a professional. So the first thing I want to talk about is this plug right here. Okay, so this is a GFCI plug. So you guys have these in your kitchens, you have these in your bathrooms, and so these protect you, and especially in a fish room, because if your lights get knocked off and fall into the water, you do not want to be electrocuted, or if something goes wrong with one of your heaters, this thing will instantly sense it and will trip the power, so you do not have any more power running through that outlet whatsoever. So this is absolutely worth it. These are about $15 or $20 a piece, but you want this for your safety. And you're thinking, Jason, $15, $20 a piece, if I'm putting 5 or 6 of these things in there, I'm going to spend over $100. Well, let me tell you why you do not have to do that. So if you go down and you look at the other plugs that I have, I assume you guys can see this. It looks a little dark right now, but all of these other ones are just normal lights. Let me get, how about I get a flashlight so you guys can see better. All right, here's another shot of this one so you can see this a little bit better. There's the GFCI plug. And then if you come over to the next plug, you can see these are just normal standard plugs. I did learn though, I didn't know these existed, is that you can now buy tamper-proof plugs. And so these little holes right here where you have to worry about kids putting knives and forks and stuff in them, they have a little shutter in them now that will keep anything from being put in there. So if you're worried about anyone putting anything in your plugs, go ahead and spend that little bit of extra money and get those tamper-resistant plugs. And so you can see so on and so forth. Every one of these other plugs that I have in this line, none of these are GFCI protected plugs. And the reason is because these guys are all daisy chained to this one. So the power actually, as you can see there, this goes up and goes to the circuit breaker box. So this is where the power first comes in, and then this one feeds to this one, that feeds to this one, that feeds to this one. So these things are in a solid daisy chain all the way down. And so this plug with the GFCI, it is protecting every single one of these other plugs. So if there's some type of fault that happens on any of these other plugs, this plug will sense it and it'll shut down all the power to all of them. So this one operates all of them. So you only have to buy one. So that's a good thing about that. We have to spend a whole bunch of money buying these. The other thing is some of you guys may be looking at going, why are these things so high? You've got these things way up in the air. No one ever puts plugs up like that. Well, whenever you are doing in your fish room, you want to put them up high, because if you've got your plugs down low down here, whenever the water drips on one of the cords, that water is going to travel down that cord and go right into that plug. So by having your plugs up like this, you don't have to worry about that water running down them, or any type of spill that you have. The chances of you getting water way up there is almost impossible. So you always want to put your plugs up way up high, out of the way. All right, so there you go, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this next installment of selling fish for profit on how to build your fish room, as I'm taking you guys step by step as I do this, so you guys can understand a little bit better on at least how I think you should build a fish room. That it doesn't mean that this is the way to build a fish room, because I've seen lots of different fish rooms built a lot of different ways that work just as well or even better than mine. So you guys got any questions or comments, or you think you see something that, man, Jason, you should be doing this, I would love to hear your suggestions. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.